Breaking the gray.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe this, Sarah. I can't believe it's you.
Russ, where have you been?
It's like catching a firefly with you. Like you're
Yeah.
everywhere, and now you're here, and it's so great to see you. And you look
Yeah.
radiant as ever. You look like you've been out in the sun, which is exactly where you're supposed to be. Where are you today?
I'm in Miami. I'm in Miami at the new office for CeraThrive. So that's super exciting. We've now got an office, a facility, a showroom in Miami. I've done my sunrise sun salutations on the deck. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And
I look happy today, Russ.
you look happy. I'm nursing a cold because I'm still in the fog of Half Moon Bay. And I think the grayness just keeps my cold going. But I mean, a lot of life changes. It's been a minute since we've had an episode and talked. I would love to hear a little bit more about the Cera system, where everything's going. And like, I think, knowing from work how hard it is to bring hardware to market, I'd love to, hear more about the challenges you're having and just learn about the success you're having as well.
Yeah, thank you, Russ. Yeah, it has been a little bit more challenging than I thought it would be this last year. And like you say, they're just the little things that come up in the production that kind of just knock you sideways and just take up a lot more time than they should do. But I am happy to announce that we are in production now. So that's
That's great.
That's a total milestone, and it's total credit to the whole team who've been frantically working in the background to iron out those little problems. We actually had a problem with the headband in the end. It was something to do with the chip. I'm not the technical person, but I have been speaking to the technical people, and I am assured it's all resolved. So I'm super glad that we're at this stage. I'm super grateful for all the people who've taken pre-orders and have been hugely supportive. So, there's really light at the end of the tunnel now. June, the delivery date.
And Sarah, I mean, we've been talking since the beginning of this, and the amount of time you've put into it. And I would love to, I think, maybe to spend a minute of the craftspersonship of like you crafting it and what you put into the development of it, of the idea, and why it's taking so long. It takes so long because this is a different type of device, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. I think probably this has been a 3-year process from, conception of the idea, which is an idea I had when I did a study for Parkinson's and saw just how effective red light therapy could be for the brain. But the device was not quite how I would like it. And finding a manufacturer and finding this super duper manufacturer that I now have, and actually my business partners now in Holland, spending some time there with the design engineers, kind of getting exactly what we want. That's a whole process in itself. And then moving that over to production, of course, you have to translate that idea to something that actually works, and of course, first of all, you have buzzing in the device. You sort that out. Issue with the Bluetooth. I think, one of the issues is it is actually a very sophisticated piece of equipment in that we have different target sites to the brain. We have 4 wavelengths, not 2. We have 6 different pulsing schedules. Each of those kind of different blends can be mixed up in a way that we can pulse to different target sites with different wavelengths. The computation of that is quite immense. So it is a credit to the engineers that they've kind of got that in this very small device. I mean, this is the final device. I think I've shown it before.
Yeah.
So, obviously things happened there was a shortage of chips in Asia. Different things happen. Things happen out of your control as well. So yeah, it is a long process getting something to market, and it takes a lot of time and dedication and resources too.
Yeah. And, we've talked a lot on our podcast about why it's so important. Red light's so important. But I'm curious. So in the last year, since you've been developing this and getting this into production, talking about it at every single conference you could possibly be. I mean, that's why it's been so hard to catch you, because you've been on the road and doing it. How has the research changed? How has the acceptance been? I know for myself, I'm out every morning now. I still look at my phone first. It's just an addiction. I blame the manufacturers of the phones, not myself. I can't take responsibility for how addictive that phone is. But what's changed, and how has the word gotten out about how important it is?
I think, yeah, definitely in the space of brain red light therapy, there's been some great advances. And people are they're very accepting. I mean, a lot of times I'm preaching to the choir because I go around to all the biohacking events, the longevity events where people are very familiar with this kind of tech. But even at the beginning of this year, when I was at CES, which is the big consumer electronics show in Vegas, where people are not so familiar, people were really, really interested. And I actually got a lot of people actually quite incredulous that this technology is out there and people don't know about it. So that's been great. And I have got a few prototypes that are out there working for me and getting some great feedback. I think some of the more interesting things is that gut issues seem to be responding very quickly and having a knock-on effect of brain health rather than kind of it being both at the same time as I imagined. So I am going to be focusing a lot more. I have a study going on now at Durham University on IBS because of that. I have some very interesting results for motor neuron disease, which I think in the States you call ALS, for things like sleep and brain fog. So the research is taking me down slightly different avenues, but all of it is aimed towards gut-brain connection. And I think that is the piece where I can probably make the most difference, because although there are a lot of red light, transcranial red lights, and there's probably a few more on the market since we started talking, the whole gut-brain piece has also exploded. Certainly in the literature, if you look at it, it's linked to almost all chronic disease. It's linked to a lot of childhood developmental disorders. So it's really gratifying to kind of be here, to have a product and still have a lot of interest.
Yeah. And I've seen more and more since we launched nearly 4 years ago. I think it was December of 2020 we launched.
Yeah, it was during lockdown, wasn't it? When we were going crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot's changed as well with the world. But I think in that time, I've seen far more documentaries on gut health. I think I just saw another one pop up on Netflix over the weekend. Yeah. I'm also, I know you've been interviewing for a few of these as well. I think that the practical nature of what we talk about on the podcast is really the interesting thing of like how practicality and habit forming is something that is so hard to do. And I know for me, like I am pretty good at committing, but I am pretty quick to fall off with certain things. I'm curious about, the usage and how you're finding the people that have been using your device, how they're using it for everyday life and what it's like for them. And what are you suggesting for people?
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's great to have this technology, but it's not going to work unless you use it, right? So certainly for the people who are doing trials for me, because they are on a trial and we have specific check-in times, that's really helping. But I also have a platform that's going to be available for people who buy the CeraThrive system, that they can be part of a platform so you can track your progress. Because I think, health tracking is also something that's becoming huge, wearables and all kinds of different technologies. We've spoke a lot about Oura Ring, but there's many other of these different technologies coming out. I'm currently trialing a super awesome technology that tracks your emotional state called In Truth. So there are lots of different ways to do the tracking, but also it's just habit forming, and I think if people start to see results, there's your incentive. I had this wonderful testimonial from a lady in UK who was suffering quite badly from IBS, as well as having some brain symptoms. So we got her on the Cera system, and she wrote me an email to say, she's now able to go out in the afternoons, and she hasn't done that for so long. So that's it. She's religiously doing her protocol because she's seeing the effect. So I think there is part of that. As soon as you start to see improvements, there's your incentive to keep going.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, you really have to do it. But once you start feeling better, it's like the sunrise, it's hard to get up for the sunrises, but once you start feeling better and you feel the benefit of it, you want to do it.
And yeah, I mean, I know of the people that have been touched by Cera, everyone I've talked to, they all say, I am up in the morning, I'm grounding, I'm out here foraging. No, but I think it's the morning is such an important time to get up and see the sunset and then also watch the sun go down. Are there easy practical things that you just suggest, like morning coffee, like what are the things that you suggest people do when they get the device, when they first get in their hands?
The Sarah system, well, it's about habit forming. So it's working it around your own routine, really. Because we're not putting this light into the eyes, it's not something that's going to alter the circadian biology necessarily.
Yeah.
So I have people that are doing it in the evening before they go to bed, so they remember, they have it on their bedside table. I also have other people that are using it for things like memory and concentration. So they might have it next to their computer, and if they've got to do some full spreadsheet task or something, that's when they wear it. So I think that's kind of fairly individual, but yes, it is just about doing it. I have a guy, Cliff, the brain reprogramming doctor. Shout out to Cliff.
Yeah,
We had him on the podcast.
We did.
He's assessing his balance, so he's all about balance and not having a fall. So he's kind of doing his Sarah system and doing a lot of these kind of functional movement and strengthening exercises. So this is another thing that it would be great to talk about, is this idea of stacking your hacks and doing things that, you're maximizing the efficiency by doing a couple of things together.
Yeah.
So whether you're kind of doing a focus task using the focus function on CeraThrive, or doing balance training while using a different kind of program, I think that's how people maximize results. And also it makes it less onerous. You don't have to kind of set aside hours and hours and hours to get through all of these different technologies.
Yeah, I think that's always the problem. I mean, I know people blame busyness, but to be healthy, you have to actually create healthy time. And to create a healthy diet, you actually have to, practice a healthy diet. I think it's the same as here, as like fitting it in. And this is not something that takes hours. This is something that takes minutes. As you said before, it's something that you put on, but it's not, you don't have it on for a couple hours, right? I don't even know if
it's 10 minutes. It's just a 10-minute session. So there's something that can easily be fit in. And then once you start to understand how this light is actually affecting you, once you start to experience it, then you can start to broaden your horizons and think about how else you're being affected by light in your life.
Yeah.
Because, this is kind of testament that light really is very, very effective in altering biology. So then you need to start to look around, where is your desk? Is it next to a window? What lights have you got on at night? Are you using blue blocking glasses? Are you using other light devices which might also help boost your system at the same time? So I think once you go down the light rabbit hole and you understand by using a system like this, then it enables you to start bringing other things in and kind of elevate your wellness. And when you feel good, you're more likely to do things, the motivation's there.
Right. It's like anything, right? What you've talked about the fact that your entire body is a receptor for light, and that it carries it through. I mean, it's such an important thing. I'm curious, as you're doing this work now, I'm sure there are others that are doing similar things, and others that have products out there. Are you finding that you are, are you finding others that you're going to partner with that are doing this? Like, what's next for the CeraThrive system and for you, Sarah?
Yeah, so this is something very cool that I'm very excited about, is that I've formed what we're calling a RedLight Collective. So this is a group of kind of like-minded people. I'm very lucky that I have these people around to help and support me. So I have like a merry band of willing participants to come together to share their different products, and we can kind of show the synergistic effects of those. So throughout this podcast, we're going to go through all the people in the RedLight Collective, and maybe we'll explain a bit more about how these products fit in. But certainly, right now I'm here in Miami, and I'm sharing the facility, the office facility there, with a red light bed, and a big shout out to Barry of Energy Lounger. This is a bed that uses red and infrared, but it's so far, advanced from some of the other beds out there. It's been specifically designed to know where your body is. It puts out specific frequencies. It's very affordable compared to the other beds. And, when we go to trade shows, that's it. Everybody wants to lay on the bed. And once they're on there, it's hard to evict them. So, that's the Energy Lounger. I also have another great CEO, John, who's got a LumaFlex device, which is a sports device, pain relief and sports. So again, you can see where these different kinds of therapies, once you understand how light works, you can bring them into other parts of your life.
Yeah, I still have a basketball daughter. She's going to be a senior this year.
Yep.
She recently had a little stress fracture in her foot. We should talk. We should really talk, because she's now booted. She's in a boot for the next couple of weeks. And she's had a really hard time healing it because of all the pounding she puts on that foot. Those small bones don't heal quickly. just because she's walking and doing the basketball and everything. So
Yeah. We need to get it on there. I mean, like I say, Lumaflex would probably help like that. I've also got another fabulous company called Energy and Medical that they make kind of little booties and things specifically for neuropathic pain. But, something like that would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's interesting. My daughter and a lot of her teammates are, they study exercise science. My daughter's studying exercise science and psychology. She wants to help the mental health part of athletes when she graduates. And a lot of it is just like, there's so many female athletes that go through very different injuries than men, right? Men have rips and tears where women have a lot of knees and a lot of back issues, and their bodies just are not used to, they're not built to do that kind of pounding up and down that they do for basketball or volleyball or the sports that they're jumping on, hardwood floors. It would be great to do a couple tests with maybe a trainer on those basketball teams and see if there's some way to get the devices in their hands to start using them too. It's great. Yeah, great practical use.
Well, performance is a big thing. I mean, we're here in Miami, and we've already got a lot of this technology into the Miami football team.
Oh, great. That's great.
Wherever this club is, they're saying, oh, we've got Lionel Messi coming in and we're like wheeling in this red light therapy, because people can see the value of the recovery. And also, if you're kind of clever enough and forward thinking enough, the preconditioning.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And the preconditioning is such an important part. I'm wondering too, Sarah. So, okay. So you talked about stacking hacks here. Whether you're an athlete or just a chubby 50-year-old like me, I'm still a little chubby. But I'm curious when you think about like the stacking the hacks here and you're talking about other red light devices, like yours is gut and brain. And the others, and now we've talked about others being more for athletes. What are some of the other things you can do to stack your hacks here?
So we're also going to be talking to Guti on this podcast, Gerardo, who's got a fabulous lamp that I love that's also using UV light, because we talk a lot about red light therapy and we're the RedLight Collective, but also, our bodies are responding to all wavelengths and frequencies of light, and the sun contains, a huge spectrum. And people tend to shy away from UV because obviously it has been linked with it's a carcinogen in certain doses and at certain times. However, it is essential for making vitamin D and, in fact, a lot of different hormones. So we're going to be talking to Guti about that. That's super interesting. His device is called MitoLux.
MitoLux. Okay, so far you have MitoLux, the Energy Lounger is the bed. Lumaflex is for it's all kinds of athletes, but for your injuries and sort of prep as well for stretching and things like that. So every stage of athlete, whether you're early stage athlete or you're a stumbling out of shape athlete like me, or you're an advanced athlete like Lionel Messi or basketball players. Okay, what are some other ones that you're working with, Sarah, in the collective and some of the other ones?
Yeah, so we mentioned Energy and Medical for neuropathic pain, and then we're also looking at some other things which support what you're doing with red light. So we had Rudy of Viverace on a previous season of the podcast, and going back to that, he talked a lot about artificial light and how we need to get these good wavelengths in, but we also need to consider, some of the wavelengths are detrimental, especially artificial light from like energy saving light bulbs and screens and things. So he's part of the collective because, of course, he has these fabulous blue blockers that have the clip on, so you can kind of change the degree of filtering. And then, some other very interesting people, a lady, Rowena from NanoV, she has this amazing piece of kit that's structuring water that you can breathe in. And this is now we have this installed in our office in Miami. So quite often, we'll be sitting there and have it in the desk between us, releasing structured water while we're doing the red light therapy. I have to say, I don't know if it's that, but it's a hugely productive office. So,
I'm sure it is. Absolutely. I'm sure it has everything to do with it. I still have a lot of structured water here too that I will, especially now I'm dealing with a little cold. I went in and did all my blessings and said, please get me over this cold. I'm almost there. I wanted to have.
I hope you're using the pad on your chest. Russ.
I know. Well, I mean, and last week you lost your voice, and I was praying I didn't lose my voice for this. So, but you fully recovered quickly. You've been out and about. I mean, let's talk about the fact, Sarah, that you have been traveling the world. You're on an airplane constantly. You're in hotel rooms constantly, and you're staying healthy and you're avoiding getting sick. Probably because you're active, but also because there is a practice here of of red light therapy and just staying ahead of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think kind of forming a community is also hugely helpful. It's something, that's quite often gets overlooked in all the biohacking. But to go from kind of being a bit of a one man or one person band to kind of having a community of people around is hugely helpful. And yeah, when I did lose my voice at the last conference, I think just from this sheer amount of people that I'm talking to, and everybody was bringing me sticks of honey and, I had all kinds of therapies. And so, yeah, I got over it pretty quick. But yeah, I think, well, we've both of us had a bit of a journey over the last couple of years and had a lot of learnings about all of this health stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of interesting for both of us, the different paths we've gone down and how we've dealt with those kind of health challenges.
It's true, Sarah. And I as I've always been on this podcast, I think I came into this very novice where I tend to fall in and my comfort zone and my superpower seems to be around mental health. I find that the power of the brain is it's so undervalued in health. I have a lot of friends that are going through things right now, a lot of family members that are going through things. Positive mental health and not playing sick, even though you're sick and even though the doctor's told you you're suffering from something, I think is super important. So, I mean, we've talked about the holistic system here, right? Our podcast has always been about, it's not just one thing, but it's the whole thing. Our body is a system that works together. And it all starts with light. And I've, in the time you've been traveling, I've been working and I've been listening to Dr. Jack Kruse and others, and they say the same thing you say, Sarah. And you've been saying this for a long time now. And I am so proud to know that you've brought your dream forward, and let's get these off the production line, get them into boxes and shipped to people's homes so we can start I would love to have users on our show talking about it, and it would be great to have them share, how it's helping them as well. So
yeah, let's get those testimonials together. And likewise, Russ, you've definitely come a long way. And I know that you've had a few health things going on this year and you kind of worked through them. And I think you're even writing about them, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we can have a podcast where we'll turn the tables and we'll interview you, Russ.
Well, what's interesting to me, and I find that the path to health is not going in and telling a doctor that you're suffering from something, because the first thing they do is send you off for a bunch of scans, especially for someone who's, I'm 30 years this year. By the way, August 8th will be officially 30 years remission for my cancer. And the immediate thing is go in and get a CT scan, get an MRI, and I got a PET scan. It's my first PET scan I've had in 30 years. And I mean, the trauma of prepping for that. And I had a colonoscopy as well, which isn't my first one. But you've got this layer of fear that you're going in and they're going to find something. There's something's going to, and so it's the doctor is about diagnosis, and the diagnosis then putting you through whatever it is you need to go through. And I found that I was hanging on dates and hanging on return calls from doctors. And my doctor didn't get back to me right away after something, and I freaked out. But I think it's just when you become debilitated by that, and you're sitting in the doctor's office, you really are like, I really wish I would have done some more red light therapy. I really wish I would have eaten better. Really wish I would have exercised more. It's those moments when you're like, don't screw around. We're in our 50s now. And this is I've been telling people recently that I don't have that year to be like, well, I can do this for 1 year. And then, who knows what's going to happen next year? I don't have that year. I don't want to wait anymore. I'm going to do it now. And I think we should all be thinking that way. We live in a world of social media where everything's so instant. It has to happen now. Doesn't happen now. Screw you. I think it's more about don't wait to take care of yourself. Don't wait to get out in the sun. Don't wait to put your phone away. Don't wait to eat healthy. Do it now. And I think this is, these are the right devices, and having it in front of you, if you're traveling, if you're in a dark place, if you live in the UK and this, there's 15 hours of darkness during the winter. Those are all important times, but you really, I think, brought forward the importance of red light. And it's one of, if not the most important thing. We are not human beings if there is no light. So,
yes, it's all about the light, Russ. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I will just sum up with kind of a shameless plug for my device, because, I'm so glad that I can actually say, yes, You can go to the website now. You can buy the device. You can message me with any questions. You know, we're kind of at the stage where we can start to provide this. And yes, let's have people on talking about this fantastic technology that, you know, people can actually take some action. Like you say, what can you do? Okay, there's lots of things you can do, non-toxic, non-invasive, very simple. So it's great that we're starting up this new season. Looking forward to all the people that we're going to have on. And it's lovely to see you again, Russ. And yeah.
So just a reminder, and no one will ever forget the name of your device when we tell them that Cera is Cera, CERA,
Yes.
CeraThrive.
That's right.
And let's give the website and all the information. Of course, it'll all be up on our social media as well. But what's the website people need to go to order this?
Yeah, it's CeraThrive. So yes, it is Sarah, like my name's Sarah, but it's spelled CERA Thrive, CeraThrive.com. And then all the socials are exactly the same. And everything comes to me. You know, if someone messages me on any of the platforms, it comes to me. So I will answer directly.
It's the concierge service. You get Cera of CeraThrive, concierge service.
Straight from the horse's mouth, for sure.
That's right. Well, Sarah, congratulations again. I'm looking forward to the season.
Thank you, Russ.
And let's go get some more light.
Yeah. Take care, Russ. See you soon.
Breaking the gray.